Four Buttons is a game that was inspired by my kid. He likes to press buttons on the remote control a lot, and he doesn't really know what the buttons do, but he finds it very interesting to press those buttons. So, hence, this game is about not knowing what the buttons do, but you need to figure out how to, like, through a system of buttons, be able to then use those system of buttons in order to combine them and do something that reaches a goal. Like in this case, it's get to 100. Yeah. So there are other stages that I hope to implement as well. Like for example, to perhaps like a light bulb with different colors to go to a certain color. The buttons could even be like a fridge. You press a whole button for 3 seconds before you unlock the panel, and then the other buttons will like adjust the temperature and stuff like that. So each stage will have its own challenge. Okay, and yeah, so far the only thing that has been created so far is like the main menu, like this four buttons, and then like no sound has been added yet. All this was done in a previous stream that was not recorded, but all this is very similar to the text-based RPG. In order to do this, it's just adding some text, and then over here just create a scene change. Over here, this will return to the main scene. Here it will lead to an error because I haven't created the buttons yet. Then at the end of the game, we'll have like you win, you press a total of how many times for the buttons. Then you go back to the menu. So this number of times that you press the buttons will be the score, sort of the score of the game. The lower the score, the better. Like I mean, the lower number of button presses you make, the better. Yeah. So okay, we have this so far. So today I'll be doing stage one. Okay, we'll try to get this to count to 100. Okay, so in this, so we do have to have something to you know do the uh, like do the text field for the stage and everything. So in my scripts, I have a game manager script. Okay, and in this game manager script, so far actually I should have called this change scene. Okay, I mean rather than game manager, but in this game manager script, we have a change scene. Okay, so one way for me to do it is to put all the possible button combinations here. All right, and then based on the button combinations that I have. So it will be like randomly generated. I can assign it to the game manager for each level. Okay, or I could have a separate variable like stage one, stage two, in order to do the behavior of the stage itself. So I think game manager I'll just keep it as such. Okay, we can probably link to the game manager to track the number of button presses because the game manager would be only instantiated once at the beginning, and then they basically it will not be destroyed anymore. So yeah, let's just code the singleton method first. So public game manager, okay, public static game manager. Okay, so we just set it as null first. Okay, whenever we start the thing. So whenever we start the game, okay, we just check whether if the instance is null, okay, then what will happen is we will put the instance as okay, then don't destroy on load this. Okay, else I'm just thinking whether is it like this dot game object or just this would do. So no, let's just check singleton method unity. Okay, I just want to do a singleton for my game manager that will just put it through time. Okay, so we have a static if equals to this, then we will have okay, so the singleton pattern that we want to implement is something similar like this. Static instance if not equals to now, destroy game object. If not instance equals to this. Yeah, instance equals to this is Okay, let's do this. Okay, so um, instance equals to this, and then this dot game object. Okay, this will just destroy the game object. Don't this will set the don't destroy and load method to this game object, and hence it will not be destroyed when we change our scenes. Okay, else destroy this dot game. Actually, we don't really need this dot game object. We can just destroy game object because it's implicit there's a this already. So in the public variables and the private variables, when we start the game, okay, we could just set button press equals to 0. All right. So over here in our private variables, we could have a button press here. So button press will be set to 0 when you start. Okay, then we will have a method to increment the number of button presses. So how do we do this? We could have a public method, add press, and the add press method will simply just increment our button presses. So every time we have a button press in the scene, we could make this go to the game manager to increment the number of presses that we have. Okay, so this is how we do the increment add press. Okay, just delete this. So this will be a private variables. In the public variable, I don't think I need any yet, but I'll just put this placeholder here. Okay, actually this is a public variable, so this could go over here. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can just sound out. I'm also monitoring my chat on my phone. So yeah. So now I'm just creating a singleton method for the game manager so that it can track the number of button presses as we go through the scene for 4 buttons. Okay, so this is the public method that can be called by any other class. All right, they can call the add press button, add press method, and then we can store the number of button presses. Okay, so it'll be like this. Don't destroy and load game object. Destroy. Okay, let's just try to see whether this creates. Oops, this creates any errors. So no errors. Okay, so let's just play this method. So okay, I don't want to maximize on play. I want to see. So in the don't destroy and load, there's a game manager here already. So if I click here, the game manager is still the same game manager as before. Okay, great. Um, so now we will go to the main. Let's just code one aspect of the game today. So today we do number counting. Okay, maybe next week we'll do like light color or like maybe a row of 10 lights, and then you need to make all the lights turn on, and then each button will then control like, okay, if the neighbor left and right are on, then you turn on, or the neighbor, or alternate the lights. Yeah, there are different buttons for different purposes. Yeah, so that all could be done in a separate session. Maybe I could do like a few weeks of this 4 buttons. 1 week will be a different idea that we implement using 4 buttons. And I don't even exclude the case where if your 4 buttons are like controls to a game. So it's a game in a game. So your button could be like controlling something in the maze, like up, down, left, right buttons, and then you need to find your way out of the maze. That could be a stage as well. Yeah. So the 4 buttons genre that I'm thinking of is not very restrictive. It is actually quite open ended. Anything that you can do with 4 buttons, but the 4 buttons are not known to you. You don't know what the 4 buttons do. So it is by try and error that you find out what is the function of each button. But other than that, the stuff that you can create with this is pretty open ended, and it should be. I'm intending to have about like 3 to 5 levels of this kind of stuff, and then we end the game at the end. Yeah. So today we'll be doing number counting to get to a certain number. Okay. So what we'll do now is we'll create a C sharp script. We'll just call it number counts. Okay. So in this number count, we'll do the code in order to generate our number counting. So there will be like difficulty like easy, medium, hard, I guess. Yeah, so the difficulty is the number of button presses needed to achieve the goal. So like hard will be the hardest to achieve. Like you need to spend a lot of presses to achieve that mode. Okay, but let's just do the basic ones first. Let's just assume that. Okay, okay, let's start with public variable first and then private. Okay, yes, usual template for my coding. Okay, so we do have the integer numpress. Okay, so okay, let's not call it numpress because that's used in the game manager. So let's just call it integer uh, solution count. Okay, solution count like that. So maybe we can just define it as like five. So that means there's a total of five different button presses before we get our solution. Okay, and then in maybe in the public variables we could have like integer n go num equals to 100. Okay, so over here the go num is defined by the scene itself, or I could actually do this randomly. Okay, but I would like to just keep it a constant, get to 100 then get to 100, and because like the stage says get to 100, so we could just keep it as a constant. We could make it go down 100, and then like our solution count we can edit here, or we can also edit in the public variable. I'm actually kind of indifferent to putting this to public as well, so that you can edit from outside. Yeah, not a big deal. Okay, so when we start, okay, we need to firstly link to all our we need to link to the text field. We also will need to link to this field, this field, this field, and this field. So okay, so I realized that when we do have this stuff like number count and stuff like that, we may not know like which scene to load next. If we so actually once we have solved this puzzle, we should load the next scene, and then the next scene should be controlled. Let's just make the game manager control the scenes. Okay, so the next scene should be controlled over here. So load next scene. Okay, so public void load next scene. Okay, so it's pretty simple. So load next scene will be basically scene manager dot load scene. Okay, so in order to load the next scene, okay, oops, how to load the next scene? So scene manager dot load scene, we could load scene the number. Okay, so how do we get the scene? This one we can just use scene manager dot get active scene dot build index plus one. So this will get from the scene manager. Okay, so what is the build index? So if we go to here, file, build settings, you will see there's build here, scenes in build, and at the right here, 0, 1, and 2, this is the build index. So based on whatever stage that you're currently on, you'll get the build index. And then build index plus 1 will give you the next scene in line. So if stage 1, I ask it to load next scene, it will load the you win scene because it's on the next index. Okay, so let's just copy and paste that code here. So load next scene will basically take the current scene's build index, and then we increment it by 1, and that will load the next scene. Okay, so that's how we do the load next scene method. Okay, and this is attached to the game manager. So if let's say my number count has wait, that scared me a while because that site sort of loaded an advertisement, I think. I was thinking, why is there music appearing from my laptop? But okay, so now what we want to do is once our goal num, okay, whenever our num reaches the goal num, we will want to load next scene. So first we have a game manager. Okay, at the start game manager equals to find object of type game manager so this will actually find where's the game manager in our scene. Okay, and then we'll take the game manager and then we'll store it in this variable called game manager. And then over here, if the num equals or if current num equals to the goal num, then so this one if win condition load next scene. Okay, so I could even um like once we reach the goal num, we can straight away change scene, or we could like delay for 1 second before we load the next scene. So I think it is okay to okay. I think maybe we would like want to pop up something like you did it and then load the next scene. So we could do something like I enumerator, which does it on a separate thread to load the next scene. We could do that. Okay. But now I will just keep it simple. I'll just call the game manager to load next scene. So game manager dot load next scene. That's all I'm gonna call. Game manager dot load next scene. So it will call this method here and it will load the next scene. So um, this is basically a UI based game. It's just like putting some buttons. But I think this game will be difficult. It will be probably more difficult than Dino Run because Dino Run is just one button. Where you press spacebar in accordance to the timing of the cactus and the birds. This one, you need to sort of guess what each button does, and yeah, you need to find the winning combination of buttons in order to get the answer. Okay, so let's try to see. Okay, so if the current num is go num, then we load next scene. So over here we do have something called a current num. Okay, so over here at the start menu, okay, we could actually compute a sequence of compute win sequence. Okay, and then the current num will be the output of this compute win sequence. So what this thing does is the compute win sequence will be to like reverse engineer a particular win sequence of buttons, like the optimal sequence of buttons, and then based on that optimal sequence, we do the reverse steps from the end goal, and the end goal is 100. And then based on these reverse steps, we will come up with our current num, which is the start num, actually the starting number that we will need. Okay, so let's just have this variable here, the void compute, is integer compute win sequence. Okay, it's integer because we want to return current num here. So over here, we do have the goal num. Okay, so at the start, we could have an integer uh, current num equals to, or we could just call it integer num. We can call it current num also because this is within the function scope. It won't interfere with the current num here. But just to be clear, I'll just call this num in this compute win sequence. So this num we will just take the goal num at the beginning. So for integer I equals 0, I smaller than solution counts I plus plus. So basically apply up to solution count number of operations to the goal num. Okay, so what we do is random dot range. Okay, random dot range takes in. Okay, I should just keep this window open. So random dot range is a random method that is in Unity. Okay, so we're using the integer version. So it takes a random integer between min exclusive and max exclusive. Okay, so like um, so it doesn't include the last number. So let's say 0, 10, it will randomly appear. A value would randomly be chosen from 0 to 9. So it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't include 10. Okay, so here I have 4 buttons. So guess what? I'll need to do a random range of up to 4. So this one is to choose the button. So okay, so apply operation. So apply operation, and then we'll put reverse equals to true. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll reverse the starting num. Okay, so this one will be this thing here. Okay, would be the okay. So maybe what we'll do here is I don't think they'll allow something like this. Okay, so we'll just do like this random range 04 true. Okay, true should be a small letter. Okay, so we also will need to have the starting value so that we can apply this. So what we'll do is we'll do this num equals to apply. Okay, apply this button number. Okay, apply operation of the button number, our current number that we have so far, and then true is whether or not we do a reverse operation or not. Okay, so this is to sum up how the apply operation is, and then after that we'll just return the number. So that's a simple way to do like compute the win sequence, which is like to like based on our, so we will randomly pick. So how this does is out of these four buttons, we will randomly pick, okay, any combination of this. So I can pick button 1, button 3, button 2, button 4, button 4. So we pick five different numbers, five different sequence of numbers. And in order to get this five different sequence of numbers, I'm going to use a random dot range. Okay, where am I? Random dot range to in order to select the button. So if you imagine like I want to randomly select a random number from 0 to 3 five times, so I can get 0 to, this could be one option, this could be another option. So basically the ability of the random dot range, what this does is to randomly generate a sequence of operations on the buttons, so that this will be the sequence like 23201. Okay, you will need to apply these buttons in reverse order. You need to apply in 10232 in order to solve the problem. Okay, so when I do this, I'm just going to do the reverse operation of button 2, reverse operation of button 3, reverse operation of button 2, reverse operation of button 0, and reverse operation of button 1 onto my goal number. Okay, so this can be quite difficult. Okay, so I'm just going to probably make the operation simple. Okay, right? We don't want to scare people off in the first level. Yeah, I mean the more difficult operations can be saved for the later steps. But I think in terms of like the difficulty, maybe just having the solution count, like I'm thinking easy difficulty the solution count is 3, medium difficulty the solution count is 5, and then hard difficulty the solution count could be like 10. So you need to like think 10 steps in advance in order to solve it. Yeah, so that could be one way to do it. Okay, so now I do have my apply operation that I need to code over here. So okay, we everything will have an integer. Okay, because we don't want to show decimal places here. Is it? I find that it makes the aesthetic look very bad if we have decimal places. Yeah. So any operation that is going to be done to this will come in as an integer, and then we apply the operation, and then outcomes will be an the outcome of it will also be an integer. Okay, so that we don't complicate things. Okay, so let's do the apply operation. So over here will be integer button. Okay, integer start num, and then boolean reverse. Okay, so if reverse is true, we'll apply the reverse operation to it. Okay, so over here, if button equals to, okay, so we start with if reverse, if not reverse. Okay, actually, yeah, I'll just do if not reverse, apply the normal mode. Okay, else, okay, this part here, apply the reverse mode of operation. I mean, some of you might be wondering why not I just do normal mode of operation for everything, right? But if I were to do that, I wouldn't be able to like backtrack from the goal target, and then I backtrack my buttons one by one to reach my current state, which I present the player with. So the player, when he receives the state of the game, it will be the backtrack of these five operations, and then he'll get this start state. So he needs to apply these five operations in order to reach the end state. So that's why I need a reverse mode, and it must be fully reversible. So it means that given the output and the operation, I must be having a unique reversible solution to it. If not, it will spoil um, the the solution of this. I mean, there may not be a solution if the reversible mode is not totally, what do you call that, faithful to the original number. So like I'm giving an input and the output of the operation. When I reverse it, given the output, I should be able to get back the same input that I gave it. Yeah, so it must be it must be symmetric, the reversible operation. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we start if button equals to 0. Okay, so if button equals to 1, else if button equals to 1, else if, so there are a total of three buttons. Sorry, four buttons. So one way I can do this is to do like that. Okay, the other way to do this is to do a switch. Okay, but I think this is sufficient because it's not that. Okay, so it's not that difficult to do this. So over here, if button is 0, then do something. If button is 1, then do something. So let's keep it simple. So maybe if button is 0, okay, then we just add a certain number. Okay, so like return start num plus add. Okay, return start num plus minus. Okay, what is start at and minus? We could define it later. Okay, so one is add a number, one is subtract a number, and then maybe button two can be. I'm thinking of multiply and divide, but I'm just afraid that if I multiply and then I divide again, I may not get a unique solution because let's say if I do 15 divided by 2, I'll get 7.5. Yeah, but since my output is an integer, I'll get like 7.5. And then like when I times 2 again, I may not get. Okay, if I input as 7 and I reverse it, I times 2, I'll get 14. I may not get 15. So I'm thinking like multiply and divide are a little difficult to do. I mean, if anything, okay, if anything, if I were to divide or multiply, it would be like I must make sure that the number is divisible. If not, I won't do the operation on it. Yeah, so that could be one way to safeguard. Okay, in order to make sure that you can divide, you must make sure that the number is divisible. Okay, if not, you don't divide. So in math operations, we have add, subtract. Okay, let's think of what else is there. Add, subtract. Mm, yeah, I'm just thinking maybe we just have like add, subtract, like two adds and two subtract. Yeah. Or we could just have a random number that we added and random number subtracted. I mean, the add or subtract, it could be all add also. Yeah, we don't really need to like cater cater for that. Yeah, so we have three random numbers that is either added or subtracted, and then the last button would be like the reset button. So to reset back to the initial num. So current num is this. Okay, so okay, we just call this start num. Okay, so current num equals to start num. Okay, so start num will be stored here whenever we compute this because I want start num to be able to like be able to be retracted. So you see, if let's say I were to apply the normal mode of operation, okay, so in this case, I do not need to go back to the start num at all. Okay, so we have one less button to play with. So there's only three buttons that you need to play with now. Okay, because the start num button Okay, the start num button will definitely is basically a reset button. So I make it easier for people. Okay, so there's only three operations that you need to play with, and then the last one is a reset. Okay, so yeah, so let's see. Actually, I'm thinking I maybe I don't have to do the reverse operation thing. You see, like stage one get to 100, I could just like start with an arbitrary number like zero, and then like stage one get to this certain number, and this certain number is just the forward pass of whatever operations. Then I could do like divide as well. But I like simple games. I think if I add in multiply and divide, it can be quite challenging for the user. I think it can be quite challenging for the user. So I'm thinking just simple operations will do. So maybe like this num one, num two. Okay, so since I'm using like num one, num two, num three, okay, when I do the reverse over here, it'll be very simple. Okay, can you guess what will be the reverse mode if I just add? Yeah, it's just subtract. Yeah. So yeah, hi everyone. For those watching, if you all have any questions or anything, feel free to just type in the chat anytime. Yeah. But basically, today's aim is just to create this stage where the aim is to just count to a certain number. Okay, so that's what we are, and I want to make it such that even I don't know what number is, what are the buttons. Okay, I want to try it out myself and see whether it's too difficult or not. So this is like an awesome game because I think there will be high replayability. Everything is random, so you need to really try out different options and operations in order to find out what works. Even when I do the playtest later, I will be I'll be stumped as well because like see this num one, num two, num three, I will make them random. Okay, so so let's do the random thing. So okay, so it's a good practice to just call functions instead of putting. So let's just call it set random. Okay, so in set random, okay, we will just set random numbers to our num one, num two, and num three. So how do we do this? Okay, so num1 equals to random dot range minus 100 to 100. Let's just, okay, maybe minus 10 to 10. Minus 100 to 100. It's a little tricky. So basically, we just set the range for all these random numbers. And then when we apply the operation, we just take the current start num, and then we add in this number that is being set to random at the beginning of the game. So at the beginning of the game, when we first load the scene, we will already compute all the start numbers. Okay, and then the last button will be stored to be the what do you call that? The last button will be the reset button. Okay, so the reset button will I think for starters the reset button I'll just put it at this right button here in order to like reset the number to, yeah. Or I could have a button to reset here. Like I need not put a reset button down here. So there could be really four different buttons. Okay, let's not limit the buttons that, let's not put one button as reset. I can put another reset thing at the top here so that I could use that to reset the scene. Yeah, actually, why not? Let's just do that. So there will be one button at the top to like say resets, and then because you see if you add or subtract certain numbers, you may not get 100 already if you press the wrong sequence. So last, yeah, I think it's okay. Let's just try the reset button being the rightmost button first. I'm still thinking whether I should just have like, the game can be called four buttons, but I'm just thinking whether in actual fact we just let people play with three different kinds of operations, and the last button just keep it as random. That might be easier actually. So yeah, easier in terms of like, hmm, easier to win the game. Yeah. Okay. So now we have this apply operation. what we are missing so far is we need to link this text. Okay, we need to link this text to the start num. Okay, we need to print the text correctly, and then we need to link these buttons. Okay, we need to link these buttons to the apply operation so that we can apply the operation and compute the start text. Okay, so let's just let's just have a okay uh, integer print num. Okay, so integer print num. So we have a current num here. Okay, the current num over here is uh, basically the number that you have computed until. So over here, we do need to have a game object over here. So we could have a text. Okay, num text. Okay. So in order to use text, we need to use Unity Engine .ui. Okay. So I want to access this text over here. So in order to do that, I have a text public variable which we will drag in later to the script. Okay, and then when we have this text here, okay, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I print out the number. So over here we could have print num, current num. Okay, so what we do is we can do this. Uh, okay, I want the number to be okay. Maybe I won't zero pad the number. I'll just print the num as zero. So in order to do that, we just need to put num text dot text. Next time, you can change the stream to software and game development. Your stream will be visible to. Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, I didn't know there was this category. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, it's coder like. Do you do Unity coding by the way, or like any like kind of coding? Yeah. Okay. While wait for him to answer, let's just continue this. So numtext dot text. Okay, we can just put it to the current num dot toString. So the toString method converts an integer or I mean any number, integer or float or double, into a string. So this will then be stored to this variable numtext.text, which will then appear on the game here. Okay, so this is how we get this. Okay, so just delete this. So we do print the number here. Okay, and we do need another function. Okay, we do need another function, which is called because actually this print num can be like I could just keep printing the number every update here. I could do this, but I think that is too much of a check. I mean, there's no issue. You could just print the number here. Okay, but over here now I need to create a public method. Okay, where the buttons can refer to this method, and when the buttons refer to this method, it should execute this apply operation. Okay, so what we'll do is, uh, are you referring any book? Oh no, actually no. I'm not really referring to any book. This game idea for four buttons is entirely my own. Yeah, inspired by my kid who's like playing with remote control buttons, and I just thought that it would be quite cool to think of life in the form of a kid who doesn't know anything. Yeah, so if you are interested in game dev, I think I learned my game dev using this site. So I'm just gonna refer this site. So it's like 2D Unity Udemy course. I'm not too sure. I think it's this one. Complete C Sharp Unity Game Developer 2D. Yeah, this is the course that I went through, and yeah, I think it's a very good course. Yeah, I would recommend this course. Yeah, so if you're interested to learn 2D, they cover quite a huge range, and yeah, this is how I learned my Unity 2D. I never regretted doing this. So yeah, I'll just put this into the chat, I guess. Yeah, yeah. So if you're interested, you can get it. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, back to the game. Yeah. Also, if you like to see any games being coded, like I only can do 2D. So if you like to see any games that are being coded, my stream is from 4 to 6 p.m. Sometimes I start a bit later because I might need to do some kid duties before that. So like about 4:30, I think I should be on. Yeah, so if you like to see other games, like something that interests you, you could also put in the on the text. Like someone previously wanted to see T-Rex run, so I coded T-Rex run out. Yeah, so I'm quite open to coding games that you are interested in. If Yeah, but you might need to wait a few weeks because like this 4 buttons will take 2 3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean until the time comes when I increase my stream counts. If not, it's gonna be a while because I'm not that free nowadays. But yeah, I do like to try to code. Even old games is fine. Yeah, because I find that it is the coding and the practice of coding that is important. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, this 4 buttons game is something new. I mean, I never done it before. This is my first time doing it. I'm like live coding it right now, so I'm also quite interested to see how it turns out. Okay, so we have a public function called execute button, which will then be tagged on to these 4 buttons here, and then they will execute the functions of button one, button zero, button one, button two, and button three. So this button three is the reset button. Okay, so execute button, how will it be done? Okay, execute button will be so in the execute button, we will have an integer button num. We can just call it integer button, and then over here, we could then apply the operation. So we do have a current num. Okay, so apply operation. So we update the current num. So update current number, current num, apply operation button, current num. Okay, and false. Okay, we don't do the reverse mode. Okay, then update screen with the new text. So we could do a num text equals to. Actually, when we update with the new text, we don't have to do this again. Just I created a function for it. We could just print num current num, and that's good enough. So execute button will then update the screen with this new text automatically like that. Okay, so this is how it should be done. Okay, and then also we will need to basically what do I call this? Update the game manager also. So update number of button presses. Okay, why we need to do this is so that the game manager can, we have implement this add press and keep track of the total number of button presses the user makes. So we could have this game manager dot add press, and yeah, that should be it for the execute button. I think so far I've been coding. It's time to try out whether it works. So let's see whether there's any errors. Come on, errors. Method must have a return type in number 50, line 50. So public. So this is a void because I'm not returning anything at the end of the function. So public void execute button. Okay, print num, not all codes return a value. So this is a void as well because I don't need to return anything for print num. Okay, not all code paths return a value. So 71 is this integer apply. Ah, I forgot about button 3. Okay, actually I should just put else. Okay, else return start num. Okay, so over here there's a slight problem because I caught my number here start num. So the number over here should just be called num so that I don't interfere with start num. So because start num is a global variable over here, I'll just return start num. Okay, same thing over here, else return start num. So the last button is a reset button. Okay, so this is how we do it. Okay, so that should be it. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to create a game object here. Create empty, and then I will just call this game object. number counts. Okay, so this number count object will store the it will store the um, store the script number count, and this script number count will then code for the game logic in order to code for the buttons in order to um, do this game. Okay, so the end goal is get to 100. I like the number 100. Let's not change it. So the only thing that will change is the start number. So based on the random operations that are being done here, like when we do a compute win sequence, we randomly apply 5 different buttons. Okay, excluding the reset button, we will randomly apply 5 different buttons to it, and then this will then like do a backwards track from 100. So let's say the operation is a plus 5. So if I reverse it, so it will be 90, 100 minus 5. So it'll be 95, 92, and so on. So this is how we do the reverse operation. We apply the reverse operation up to 5 times, or up to solution count number of times, and then we return this number here. And then this number, when returned, it will be our start number. Okay, so the start number will be a number that will be like whenever you reset, the fourth button is the reset button. So whenever you reset this, okay, it will always appear at the start number again. Just in case you screw up, you do a sequence that is wrong, at least there's a bit of hope. You can press here and then reset. Okay, so how do we do this? So now we need to code the buttons one by one. The buttons, okay, we need to do a on click for each button. So we can put the number count here. Okay, and then over here we could do a number count. Okay, over here I would like to, this is a prefab. I could like update prefab with this, but I would prefer not to, because when I update prefab this, all the buttons for all the other scenes will be updated with number count as well, which is not correct. So I will not updating the prefabs. Okay, I will just do this number counts one by one. And what is the thing? It's called execute button. So this execute button is button 0. Okay, what's this? This is execute button, and this button is number 1. Okay, and we have a next button here, this third button here. Again, we pass in the number count game object, and then we can put a function here called execute button, and this button number is called button 2. And then over here, we could also put a number count game object here, and this number count execute button, this button will be number 3. So I have put all my buttons one by one into the um, to reference number count, and then it will reference this particular function in number count execute button, which will then update the current number using the apply operation, update the screen with the new text using print num, and then update the game manager with the number of button presses so far that you have done in this game. Okay, so there's one thing that's lacking right now is this print screen, print num. Okay, I'm supposed to link with this text, but right now if you look at my number count over here, it's like not really asking me to link anything. So there's something wrong here. Let's try to find out why. And that's because I put this as public, but I forgot to declare everything as public. So silly me. Yeah, I need to do this. Okay. So actually this game manager need not be public, because I do a find object of type here, which will already find the game manager using scripts. So this can be a private variable. So I put this as private. Then all this go num solution count, I can change it externally so that I can see how the program reacts to different kinds of inputs. So right now I will need to link. Okay, I'll need to link my num text, which is over, where is it? Main text. Yep, it's this one here. So if I change this here, you can see that the text changes. So I will link this text to my number count here. We have a text. We just link this text here. Okay, let's try it out, see whether it works. Okay, so this is -4. Okay, this one -1, and this one +3. Okay, I'm not too sure how this got to 100 in 5 steps, because like it's obviously not. There we go. All right, so actually that was quite difficult already. Yeah, so 6, this is minus 6, this button is 0, this one is plus 6. Yeah, so there's something wrong here. Okay, um the what do you call that, the buttons itself, when they did this compute win sequence, okay, it starts from the go num, right? And the go num should be 100. Okay, so I think what is wrong here is there might be an issue with this part. Okay, we can just test it out. Iteration plus I dot to string. So iteration 0, we could have iteration 0, iteration 1, num, and the num would be, so I'm just going to do a code here in order to do a debug to check how the number is backtracked. So I would like to check how this is backtracked, because I'm supposed to do only 5 button presses to 100, but apparently um, okay, so iteration 1, the number is 4, and minus 6, 0, 0, 6. Okay, this is a 0. Okay, this is a plus 6. Okay, so apparently the number here, integer num equals to go num. Okay, so I think there's something wrong with go num, because maybe the go num as 100 is not in here. So let's just print num here. Just want to print to see like what is the number that they begin with. Okay, the number is 100. Interesting. So this number is indeed correct, it's 100. But once I apply this operation, okay, mm, oh, there's something wrong with this, like this num here. Like when I do apply operation, random dot range 03 num comma true, I'm supposed to, this is supposed to be 100. Okay, and then this num will then be apply operation this one true, and then you see after 100 it becomes minus 2, which is very weird, because it's as though that this number was a 0. So something is wrong here. So we did the reverse mode, we did this num here. Okay, and then we did reverse mode, we did a minus here, a minus here, which is correct. I mean, it's behaving as it should. Okay, but somehow the number became like starting from 0 instead. So it's like, okay, so this is minus 8, this is plus 2. So this minus, this one is minus 7. So, oh, I see. So this num here doesn't get updated. So this is like the reverse of what we are doing, but um, this num is not updated. Oh, I see. Because of a silly mistake that I made, I forgot to change my start num over here. So I forgot to do this. Hence it wasn't updated. Okay, so if we were to do this again, now you see it starts with 118, and then so here will be, so that was pretty easy. Okay, so I think the operation from 0 to 10, so this minus 8, this one is minus 8 also, this one is minus 6. Okay, so both are minus 8 and then 1 minus 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, okay, so that was fine. I'm just thinking whether or not I would like to have the number have a unique value for each of them so I don't repeat. That might make things more interesting rather than, uh, having the same number here. So what we could do is like this. So we have three numbers here, and I want all three of them to be distinct. Okay, so one way to do this is to like prefix a certain range, but I'm not gonna do that because like it could be like people could be smart and then deduce one side is minus, one side is plus. So we're gonna do it something. We're gonna do something more ingenious. Okay, we're gonna make sure. Okay, so over here this is the minus 10 to 10. We can make this range of numbers be not hard coded. So we could just do this as num range. Okay, and then we could make the num range a hyperparameter that we can code it outside of this script. So we could have a num range here, num range. Okay, and then over here we could have a public int num range equals to, you guessed it, equals to 10. So we could do a num range here is equals to 10. And then over here we have some random selection between like minus 10 to 10. And then over here, okay, we just need to make sure that, while num2 not equals to num1, or rather while num2 equals to num1, okay, we keep doing this. Or we could just do a do while loop, do this. Wow, this. So let's just show you the do while loop in C sharp. So we just start with the random here. Okay, so do a certain code block. Okay, wow, this is true. So for example, we print the line here while I smaller than 5. So the do while loop, the difference, or rather the benefit of this is that you will definitely perform this operation once, at least once. Then when this condition is true, then we keep doing this loop. Okay, if this condition is false, then we break out of the loop. So that's exactly what we want to do. So next we can also do another do while loop for the last number. So we could do this, do this, okay, do this while num2 equals to num while num3 equals to num2, or num3 equals to num1. We need to check for both conditions now because we have two numbers, we don't want it to be equal. So this one will be, let's just see, this sets three distinct numbers from num range, from minus num range to num range for the buttons. So this is my set random function. Okay, so my set random function does this. It just generates three distinct random numbers in the range of minus num range to num range. Okay, and this num range is a configurable parameter. In fact, I think 10 might be a little too small. Let's maybe do 20. That's more interesting to see, large fluctuations. Okay, so there's a lot of errors right now. So I'm just wondering why is it? Okay, empty character literal. Oh, is this not valid in C sharp? I mean that's a triple quote in Python, so I guess maybe C sharp doesn't have this. Oops, yeah, too used to Python. So I forgot a semicolon here. So yeah, that's so far that's how we set three different random numbers. So right now, these three buttons are adding or subtracting some random numbers here. And this right button over here is to reset the number to the initial. Let's see how it works. So the number is 100. So there's 102, 103, 122, 141, 129, 132. So the number is now 132. I need to press 5 distinct button combinations in order to get it back to 100. So let's see. Okay, this one is a plus 12. Okay, this is a minus 3. Oh, what's this? This is a minus 19. Yeah. All right. So over here, I think the game is done. Okay, but I think the num range is a bit too much. Yeah. Let's go back to 10. Yeah. And probably I would like to exclude 0 as well, because like I think 0 is kind of not a button. I mean, if it becomes 0, then then it's like not fun anymore. Yeah. Each number should do something other than 0. Yeah. So well, num1 not equals to 0. Oh, sorry, this should be equals to 0. And then here we have, so I want to exclude the possibility of a 0 here, because a 0 makes things not very interesting. So excludes 0. Yeah. Okay, so this is how we'll do it. Okay, semicolon expected over here. Okay, so this should be good. Okay, this should be good already. Let's test it out. Let's press the play and test it out. So, okay, so you see the number starts with 100, and then we do have a few iterations. Okay, so when I change my number count to 10, it didn't reflect here, so I want to change it here. So the solution count is 5. So I think 5 is a good starting point. So to get to 100, now let's see. This is plus 2. This one is minus 7. This one is plus 4. So plus 2, plus 4, minus 7, minus 7. Yes. Okay, so that's how we win this stage. I think so far is good. Over here, we have pressed buttons a total of how many times? Okay, this thing needs to be updated. So let's do some code for that. Yeah, I think this logic for this thing is already done. So I'm not going to print out stuff anymore. So I'm going to comment this line here, okay? Because we don't need to print out the numbers already. I'm confident that it's working. Okay, so like get to 100 here, it's working. So you can see that the main menu. So over here we have like 4 buttons at the start game, question mark, question mark. This question mark in the end, I would like to replace it with like hard mode and insane mode. So like hard mode, the buttons, not only will they be unknown to you, okay, but through the game, okay, the buttons can move. So you need to like sort of memorize which button is for what, and then the buttons will move all around the place like they will float. So that's hard mode. Insane mode will add a even more difficult thing. So okay, maybe no, this hard mode will just be like, okay, this is like normal mode, and this one will be hard mode. Hard mode is like maybe 9 up to 9 iterations. So start the normal one is five solution sequence. This one is 9 solution sequence, and then this one I think 9 is half enough. This one will then do the button floating. It's either button floating or like halfway through when you press the buttons, the color can change, and then so you need to like sort of remember which color does what rather than the position. So this can be insane mode. Yeah, so these are just some expansions I'm thinking about for this game. But now you can see when you start the game here, so you get to 100, so you have no idea what this does. Okay, so this one is just reset. I always put this as reset. Okay, this one, you can see 36 plus 87. So this is plus 6. This one is minus 4. It's plus 2. So let's just do the plus 6 first. Plus 2. There we go. Okay, so now I think keeping the numbers add and subtract within 10 is a good idea, because any more is kind of taxing to use your brain to solve it. Then it'll be a computer problem, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be a human solvable problem. Okay, I want it to be simple enough to solve using just like a bit of logic. Yeah, I think 3 buttons is good enough. Like I think 3 is tough enough already. Yeah, maybe in insane mode. If let's say people want, you can do four, but I'm not inclined because too many options for the buttons make people confused. I think three is an optimal number for the game, and then the fourth button can just be the reset button. So that can be the case for all the stages. Yeah, unless people tell me it's too easy, then then I can do four different buttons. Okay, so right now we need to solve this issue of the number of buttons pressed. Okay, so it's actually a pretty simple thing. So we do have our game manager here. Okay, so in our game manager, okay, so in this canvas, you have pressed a total of how many times? It's in this main text that we need to edit. Okay, we need to edit this main text. So sorry, not this text. This text here, we need to edit this text. How many times needs to be edited here? So we could do it either in the game manager, or we could create a new script, which is what I'll do. So I'll create a script called uwin that will handle anything that happens on the uwin screen. Okay, so I'll just do something similar to what I did just now. I add a UI element here. Okay, and then I will have a public text, win text. Okay, so this one will be public variables, and then this one will be private variables. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to reference this text here, this 999 times. I would like to change it to whatever number of presses times that we have made so far, and it is here, button press. Okay, so we do need to have, okay, so we do need to have a public method called get press, and then over here what we do is we just return the button press. Okay, so we need to reference this game manager in our uwin script. Okay, so we do have a game manager object here, and in the start method we will find object of type game manager. Okay, and then what we'll do is also in the start menu, because this only happens once, the up happens once, the update only happens once. So in the start menu, okay, uh, what we will do is we will do this game manager equals find object of type game manager, and what I'll do is I will what do I do? Find object of type game manager. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll call get press from game manager, which will call this method here. It will return the total number of button presses. So we can just do this. Win text equals to this one, 999 times, right? Equals to this one plus slash n is a new line. So get press dot to string. So we convert this number into a string, and then we print out the number of times here. Okay, so let's see. If we start here, okay, I forgot to reference the object. So I need to do a create empty called uwin game object here. And then uwin I put here. So and the win text will just be this text. So if we just start from this scene alone, it will give you 0 times. Okay, but once we do, okay, our start game is not working. Okay, that's interesting. It didn't work for the start game here. Let's just investigate why. So in the menu buttons, oh, we are missing the. I see, because this game manager is load on scene, so it did not capture the. because my scene changer is on the game manager itself, which is rather unfortunate. Okay, we don't really want the game manager to be the scene changer as well. So let's just create a new script called scene changer. And then this scene changer will be present in all the scenes, okay? Because I want my game manager to be a singleton object, but I want my scene changing to happen every single scene. So using Unity engine dot scene management. Okay, so in my game manager, I can take this out because I'll put all the scene changing, anything to do with scene, load next scene and change scene. I'll put it in the scene manager instead of game manager. I believe in specialization, so the scene changer would specialize in changing scenes. Okay, so anything to do with load scene in here, loads scene. So this one will be scene manager instead of game manager. Okay, and over here we need to have scene manager equals to find object of type scene manager. Actually, I shouldn't call this scene manager. I should call it scene changer. So it should be scene changer instead of scene manager because there's already a class called scene manager. So scene changer equals to find object of type scene changer. Okay, so where was it? Scene changer. But go next scene. Okay, so that should do the trick. So I will need to have a scene changer right now. Okay, what's this? Scene manager does not exist in the current context. Line 42. Okay, I don't quite get it. Why is there this error here? The name scene manager does not exist in the current context. The name scene manager does not exist. I see. Okay, because my UWin screen, or rather, all these buttons that we have, all reference the game manager to change scene, but we don't have it so far. We don't have a game manager now, so we should have a scene changer right now. We need to create a game object called scene changer. And I'll put this in here. Okay, I'll make this a prefab by dragging it into the prefab folder. So the use of a prefab is so that I can replicate this everywhere. Okay, so over here will be missing the scene changer here. So over here, scene changer. So we will do change scene. Okay. Oh, okay. I have a scene changer, but I don't have any function. Okay, I think there's some errors here that needs to be resolved first. The name scene manager does not exist. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is there's only one button that refers to scene manager, the return to menu button, which I already put as scene changer. Okay, so I don't think there's anything else that needs to be changed actually. Maybe, I don't know. Name scene manager does not exist in the current context. Scene manager line 42. Maybe I need to save this first. Okay, I think just a simple save did the trick. So in this return to menu, I need to load scene change scene. Okay, so change scene, I'll change to main menu. That's correct. Because if you go to build settings, there's main menu here. So this goes to main menu, and in the main menu scene, okay, I will need to drag my prefab scene changer inside here, and then each of the buttons over here, each of these buttons will need to reference the scene changer. So actually, I could just drag a scene changer here, and then I will just do a load next, and maybe I'll just change the prefab. Okay, so all of them will have scene. Oh no, it didn't work. Okay, so yeah, this one will be scene changer, load next scene, nothing. Okay. Oh no, sorry, not load next scene. Scene changer, load scene, change scene, and I just put a blank there so that it doesn't change anything. Scene changer, load next scene is fine for this. This one, scene changer, and then the function will be change scene, and I will leave a blank because I haven't implemented this mode yet. And this button tree, I'll also have a scene changer, and then we also will load change scene then put blank because we haven't created a help menu yet. So that's for the loading of the main menu. Over here, I need to change, okay, I need to drag in my scene changer here. The only thing that needs to be changed is this home button. Okay, so the home button is here in the header. Okay, so in the header, we have stage, instructions, and then we have this home button here, which will need to be put to the scene changer. And then over here, we have a load change scene main menu. Okay, very good. Okay, so I think so far this is okay already. Okay, maybe I'll put my menu as a prefab. Okay, so that I can change these buttons and everything externally. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to try everything from the beginning. We're gonna try everything from the beginning and make sure that it can work. Okay, it is very important that it can work. So we have all this start game, get to 100. Okay, so okay, this is a +1. I can slowly do this, but let's see, this is a +7. This is a +4, and there we go. Okay, so over here you have loaded for a total of 0 times. Okay, so it didn't really work. Okay, because I want to. So there's something that I would like to see. So maybe in the game manager here, okay, instead of making it private, I'll make the button press public. So I mean, I can also do serialized view. This will make the button visible, but I'll just do a public as of now. I'll do public first, just to just so that I can see the number of button presses that I make as I play the game. Okay, so you can see in the game manager now, there's a button press that's 0 right now. So if I press here, button press is 1. So it is definitely loading. I'm not sure why over here is not updated. So under you win, we have a main text. Oh, okay. So it is something to do with the you win. Okay, so dot get press dot to string plus n times. It could be that at the start itself, the game manager has not been destroyed yet. So instead of putting this as starts, okay, I could just call this function as an awake function, so that this is done before starts. So that once the uwin reference the game manager, it is the correct game manager, because sometimes it references the wrong one, so you will end up having a 0. Okay, so let's see. So this is how it looks like. Start the game. Okay, so this is a +7. This is a -6, -2. Oh, there's a -4. Done. Okay, so over here is still 0 times, but over here is 15. So it means that the get press method for game manager may not have updated well. So let's see. In game manager we have a get press and then our return button press, right? So okay, let's just see what happens here. Like, why is it not being updated? Okay, so what's this? The reference behavior is missing. Okay, it's not anything. All right, so this is how it looks like. So my game manager, in my game manager, you can see over here the button press is being updated. So this will be 8 presses. But over here, I print out the game manager is 0, which is weird because it's supposed to be 8. So I guess it's not updated. Yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll just do it here, do in the update. Not too sure why it's not updated, but maybe if we do update in the main loop, okay, it should update while the game runs. Let's just try. Okay, so it's still 0. Okay, that's weird. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just delete this game manager. Okay, I'm not too sure why it's not the game manager is not loading properly, but let's just try to find out why. So okay, this is +8, it's -4. There we go. So let's pause the game. So it's 14. It prints out correctly. I'm not too sure why when I put it as stats, it didn't load. Only when I update it here and update, then it loaded. Yeah, it's supposed to work though because like okay, let's try again. I'll start from the main menu. I'll press play and then I'll see what happens. So over here in the game manager, I press 1 time. It is +5. It's -2. 6 times. Okay, so now it works. Okay, very good. So when I return the menu, oh, okay, there's some bug here again. Okay, so the return to menu script is probably not updated with the right. Missing a scene changer. So we need this. Yeah, okay, so this should do the trick. So let's start the main menu now. Okay, so at the main menu, okay, I'll start my game. Okay, so I'm just thinking whether or not I want to put like a button counter. I think I won't. Okay, so over here -6, -2, +3. Okay, -6, -2. Okay, very good. You press 8 times. Very nice. And so this is a stage one of 4 buttons, and it's working. I'm quite happy with it. I think it's tough enough. It requires you to like plan ahead 5 steps, and I think this is suitable for normal mode. So yeah. Next up, if we press a button too many times, we might want to just show what the button does already. So it's to make the game mode easier. So we'll be doing that next time. So like maybe if you press the button 50 times, then I'll just show you what the button does. Okay, so that will be in tune for the next episode. And I guess I will also try to do another stage two, where I do something to do with a lights puzzle. So it's like there's a total of one, two, three, four, five different light bulbs, and then the five light bulbs can alternate on and off, and we want to make all of them on. So this will be like a logical puzzle where you manipulate this tree again to make the row of five light bulbs turn on. So that will be stage two. Yeah, if you have any suggestions for other stages for four buttons, do drop it in the text. If not, thanks for watching today, and yep, see you again next week. Okay, bye.